right, Mr. Cruz, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? You can put your hand down. And Mr. Cruz, you pled guilty before this court on all 34 counts as alleged in the indictment on October 20th of 2021. At that time, I questioned you in depth as to your ability to understand the proceedings, your ability to consult with counsel, your ability to follow along. My observations of you during the course of the trial, including today, are that you are in fact following along, that you are in fact consulting with counsel when needed, and that you are not having any difficulty understanding the proceedings here today. Sir, has anything changed since the time that I accepted your plea, other than the fact that during your plea you were not on medication, and it's my understanding that you are now on medication? Is that correct? Yes, ma'am. Are you taking your medication as prescribed by your medical physicians in the jail? You're not taking any more or any less, is that correct? And is your medication affecting your ability to understand what's going on here today? No, ma'am. Are you having any trouble concentrating? Are you having any trouble understanding me when I'm speaking to you, or understanding any of the witnesses as they're speaking? No, and you're able to follow along sufficiently? Yes. Do you have any questions about what's going on today? No. Have you had sufficient time to speak with your lawyers? Yes, I have. Okay, at this time, the court's previous finding that the defendant is making a knowing, intelligent, and voluntary waiver of his rights stands. I do believe that he is competent to go forward in this proceeding, and that's based upon his answers to my questions as well as the court's own observations of the defendant. Before I impose the sentence in this case, I want to thank the family members for the privilege of learning about each and every one of your loved ones. I can tell you that they will not be forgotten, and I feel that I know each and every one of them by the personal stories that you have given. By way of example, Mr. Beagle, I remember as the witty teacher with the dry sense of humor. Luke Hoyer as the unexpected baby that came but was so welcomed by his mom and dad. And these are just two that I'm remembering off the top of my head. You all have been so strong and patient and graceful throughout this process, and I can't help but think of how I would behave or respond if I were in your shoes. And the way that you have grieved so gracefully and have shown extraordinary restraint throughout this process is something that I've never seen. And as a group of people, you are so strong and so united that if anything good came out of this event, I feel seeing you, I can know that you are all going to be okay because you have each other. I know that that doesn't help at all, and if I could take your pain away or carry your pain for you just for 5 minutes so that you could breathe, I would. Because I can't even imagine what you go through each day. You are a wonderful, strong community. And I also want to tell you that when I visited that school, I expected tragedy and sadness, which is present. However, that school is still thriving, and it's a beautiful campus, and it's not broken like one would expect. And I think that that is due to the strength of you all and your community. And I think that when people remember that school, they're going to remember the strength of the community and how, I mean, every one of these kids came up here, the survivors, and testified as to the schools that they're attending and how well they're doing. It speaks volumes to you all as families, and the care and the love that you provide your children. And I couldn't help but notice when the survivors came in and testified that their family units came with them and were there for them. And I can't think of any other instance in one community where so many children would have not one, not two, but a group of loving family members to support them. And that's how I will always think of MSD, just as a great school that will survive, like you all have. So many of you thanked me. I want to thank you, because you were ordered so that we could have a fair and clean trial. You were ordered not to have emotional reactions, to show restraint that I don't believe. I think I would be like Mr. Oliver, and I would have to be in my office, because I don't believe I would be able to show the restraint that you all showed, and I thank you for that.